snack has played a huge part in my training camp. The protein, the ZMA, everything, the pre-workout, it's played such a major part in my training camp, keeping me healthy, keeping me recovered, keeping me feeling good, strong, and ready for my next workout.
Hey everybody, Marcos Villegas here in Las Vegas, being joined with Mr. Caleb Plant, super middleweight champion of the world. Had a great performance against Mike Lee a few months back. You've been enjoying life, got wifed up. How's everything?
Great, man. Feeling like a whole grown man. I got a dog, I'm married. Feeling old, really? No. So
I don't see any grays. I got grays. You're not that old, bro.
A little bit under there.
Yeah?
I just try to keep it tucked. Yeah.
What kind of dog did you get?
Back in March, we got a French Bulldog.
Oh, little Frenchie?
Yeah.
What's his name? Or her name?
Nip.
Nip?
Yeah.
Boy, girl?
Boy.
Boy?
Yes, sir.
Frenchies are fun dogs.
Oh, yeah.
They have a lot of personality.
Yeah, he does. He's wild.
You know, you've been relaxing, but I saw a little headline. Well, you haven't been relaxing too much. You've been training?
I was training on my honeymoon in St. Lucia.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Come on, man. You know better. Do I look like I'm 178 right now,
Yeah.
so.
I'm saying you look a little heavier.
I'm 10 pounds from fight weight.
I'm just messing around with you, bro.
I'm 10 pounds. So I've been in the gym, been working, strength and conditioning, running, everything.
So is this fight with Angulo, is it set? It's going to happen?
It's not. It is not set. It is not set. There's a couple of different guys, a couple of different locations, and a couple of different dates. Nothing is locked in yet, but he is a name in the hat, and so we're just gonna have to wait and see. So if it is him, you know, I feel like he's, you know, people were asking for me and Peter Quillin to fight, and they felt like that would have been a good fight. Well, what did he do to Peter Quillin? You know, so he's tough, and if he does get it, he probably earned it. But if it does wind up being him, he's gonna have to earn it. He's gonna earn something.
Is it him as the likely front runner? Is it looking that way?
To be honest, I wouldn't be able to tell you. Not because I don't want to. I wouldn't be able to tell you who the front runner is. But he's definitely a name in the hat, somebody we've been looking at. But there's some other guys too. So nothing is set in stone. And when it does get set in stone, I'll be just as eager to let you guys know, as eager as y'all are to know. So.
What do you make of actually fighting him? Because I know a lot of fans, when that was put out there, they're like, oh no, like that's not a good fight for Angulo. Like he looks a little slower. Like there were concerns health-wise that Angulo, you know, shouldn't be fighting anymore. Like does that come to mind at all for you when Angulo was brought up to you?
I mean, I think all these, you know, I feel like every super middleweight compared to me is a little too slow. Jose was a little too slow, right? So, I mean, I definitely understand what you're saying, but I'm not a matchmaker. I only have 19 fights. I'm not in a position where I'm able to dictate who I'm able to fight as opposed to somebody like maybe Canelo or a Floyd or somebody like that. I think a lot of people forget I only have 19 fights. So I'm not really in a position yet where I'm able to say, you know, this is exactly who I'm fighting, this is where I'm fighting, this is, you know what I'm saying? So, but if we do fight, yeah, he's going to get hurt. You know, and that's a knocking on wood. I want us both to go home to our families intact, healthy, so that we can enjoy our money, enjoy our families, and, you know, live to see better days. So I don't want no one to get seriously injured, but I only play for keeps. So.
Yeah, I think that's the opinion a lot of fans have voiced, that they're worried about the damage that could happen to Angulo coming off these hard fights that he's had, and especially with you, what you did with, you know, Mike Lee. You're in your prime right now. He's more on the downside of his career now, and I know a lot of people were like, oh, you know, like we could see him maybe get a little too hurt.
Yeah. Well, maybe somebody should call him and talk to him then. Don't talk to me, because I'm not going to get hurt. So why do they need to talk to me about it? Maybe somebody in his corner, or you know, maybe they should talk to him about that. Like I said, I don't get to choose my fights. They tell me where I fight and when I'm fighting, and that's what I do. One day, the story, you know, I may be able to have more say-so, but I'm not there yet. So I have to do what I have to do to get to where I want to be. So like I said, that fight's not set in stone. The dates, there is no set date. There is no set location. There's a couple names and a couple of dates and a couple of locations, and if it does wind up being him, then somebody should talk to him. So
This 2020, you have this next fight, the defense, and then after that, how do you more or less are looking at it planning-wise, and what is it leading up to in your opinion, or if you could have it your way?
if it was my way, then I'd be fighting David Benavidez ASAP. He's already, before he even fought Darrell, he was locked in to fight Yildirim after he fought Darrell. So he's tied up with what he's got going on. Callum Smith's fighting Ryder. I don't know what Billy Joe's got going on. He just fought, so it's not like we're going to fight by the end of the year. So just as all the champions have their own thing going on and have their fights lined up or have just fought, I'm a world champion as well, which means I have my own things going on and my own path that I'm walking. So, but 2020, I think me and David Benavidez should fight. So y'all see what happened. You know, he did what he's supposed to do. He got his hand raised and he stopped him, and that's what he should have done. I think Darrell, he has had horrible cuts over his eyes in the past 2 of the last 3 of his fights, so that was probably bound to happen. He's past his prime. I feel like even in his prime, his defense, his boxing IQ, his athletic ability was never what mine is. That's my humble opinion. Anybody can agree to disagree if they like. But if he was able to do what he was doing against David with some of the simplistic things that he was doing, I think, as I should say, I think it's a different story if you put me in there. And I feel like why everyone is so caught up in what David does is because everyone can see what he's doing. And a lot of people don't know a whole lot about boxing. I think you can agree to that, right? Yeah, for sure, right? Okay. So they can see everything that he's doing. Not everybody can see everything that I do. Just like not everyone can see what Rigondeaux does. Not everyone can see everything that Lomachenko does or Floyd does, or, you know what I'm saying? So they can see what he does. Not everyone is able to see what I do. And I think it was kind of told the story a little bit in his last fight. So.
You know what fight, now that I'm thinking about it, would be maybe a bit more challenging for you just because of the style? Would probably be Saunders, right? Because he's more defensive, more slick, he moves around. You know, he does fight to the level of his competition. He didn't look too spectacular in that last fight. Even he himself admitted, like, hey, I fought like crap. You know, I didn't like the way I fought. But I could see it, like, style-wise, that could, you know, on paper, it looks a little tricky.
Yeah, I think, like you said, a trigger fighter. He's a southpaw. He's a boxer. I think I'm the most well-rounded fighter out of everyone in the division. I can box. I got good feet and good legs, good head movement, good IQ. If I have to fight, I can fight. Y'all have seen that from me. So I think I'm the most completed. I think I got the most tools in my belt. But it's easy for me to sit here and say that on camera. And instead of just doing what most people do, which is to just tell you guys, I'd rather show y'all. So I'm hoping that we can make this unification happen between me and David. I think it'd be easier for Canelo to fight Callum or Billy Joe with the promotional setup that they have, you know. So I feel like in a perfect world, he would fight Callum and Billy and become unified, and I would fight David and become unified, and then me and Canelo could fight for all the marbles. But we don't live in a perfect world, so I'm willing to make any fight with anybody. I'm not scared of anybody.
I would think, though, that would probably be like the fight, right? Yeah. Canelo, yeah. Caleb. That actually has a nice little ring to it, doesn't it?
You know what I'm saying? So he's a unified world champion. It's going to be easy for him to make them fights with those guys across the pond with the DAZN setup. It's going to be easier for me to fight David with our setup. And then,
would you be opposed to going over there to fight Canelo? I know Charlo has stated that he's more than willing to go to DAZN to get a Canelo fight.
I'm willing to fight whoever, anywhere, anytime. So, but at the same time, I'm a fighter, so that's what I do. I have a phenomenal team around me. They've done a flawless job with me thus far. I don't know if you know too many people who become a world champion fighting someone with the caliber of Jose with only 18 fights. Well, 17 fights at the time. So I'm on a great path. So I'm happy with everything that's been done thus far. I want the big fights.
What'd you make of Canelo's fight against Kovalev? Because they're saying that he's probably going to stick around at super middleweight, probably.
Yeah, it would be hard to believe that he would go from 75 back to 60. He may go back to 60, but not before he's at super middleweight for a couple fights at least. So I didn't get to see that fight. I seen some highlights on Instagram. I I heard he didn't throw a whole lot of punches.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, that's what somebody told me yesterday. So, but I guess there was a statement that came out that Kovalev put out.
Yeah, Kovalev said that, like, pretty much saying that he knew he was in a position where he couldn't win the fight because it was so soon that he couldn't recover, and they threw so much money at him that he was cornered. He had to take the fight. Pretty much, that's what it was.
Yeah. Well, there you go. There's a guy who's going into a fight who feels like he can't win. I never feel like I've been in a position where I can't win, whether that's in the ring or out of the ring. I feel like I'm always going to overcome and conquer. So that's not a good mindset going into a big fight like that, especially with someone of that caliber. So
break down a fight between you and Canelo. Like, who has what? Who has the advantage where? Like, how do you really see it, like, playing out in your mind?
With me getting my hand raised at any cost. There's not any depth that I'm not willing to go to get my hand raised. So.
Who's smarter in there, though? Like, who has power, who has speed, who has footwork?
He's a crafty guy. I'm not a fan of many people in boxing. I'm a fan of his boxing skill. I don't know him that much as a person, but of his boxing ability, his boxing, his craft, he's a crafty fighter, and he's got a lot of experience. And again, I only have 19 fights, so I think that I can beat him now. I think I have the legs. I think I have the height. I think I have the reach. I think I have the speed. But like I said, it's easy for me to get in front of this camera and say what I feel like I could do. I'd rather be able to show you guys. So.